Jazzy Jill here. Welcome to the December technique video. This month I have a bright sunshiny card, fun, full of techniques, fun fold. It's just unique. We are featuring a brand new stamp set from Becky Muir with geraniums. Flowers are so versatile for any time of the year, and I just think flowers are a great way to send any kind of a greeting across the miles. So in this month's Technique Club, you are going to learn how to work with glossy cardstock. You are going to be doing some masking along with a VersaMark resist technique, and then you're going to be embossing with this beautiful new Clementine embossing powder. And then you're also going to be making embossed brads that are going to match your card. It's using the same embossing powder as you're using in your card. Just wanted to let you know too, for December, as a little Christmas present for our Technique Club members, you are going to receive an additional 10% off on any purchase that you make with your kit. So if there is anything else that you want in the store, go ahead and buy it online, and then in the comment section just mark that you would like that included in your Technique Club, and it will all be shipped at the same time, and you'll receive an additional 10% off of the other supplies that you are getting in your kit. So come on over to my desk and let's get started. Okay, so here's a closer look at the card. I don't know if the camera is picking it up, but you can see the shadows of the VersaMark resist here. And then with the masking and the wave and the coordinating embossed brads, along with the sentiments. And then when it opens, it has the Z-fold. And then you have the background stamp with the outline on top, embossed, and then your sentiments. I'm just really happy with this card and love all the wonderful technique that it has in it. So let's get started. In your kit, this main panel is done on glossy cardstock, and it's almost like a photo paper. It's just a glossy cardstock, and we're going to start. I have a craft mat down. You just want to make sure you've got a work area that is washable. And you're going to start by taping your glossy cardstock down. And I'm just using a little bit of washi tape. You can use painter's tape or a Post-it note as well. And then I've got a half piece of copy paper. And I'm just going to rip this in half and kind of make a mountain and a valley across it. And then I'm going to come up, I don't know, just a little bit from the side. I'm actually going to turn this around this way because I want my lower section over on the right-hand side. And then the second piece I'm going to put off, I'm going to offset it some so it's not exactly even where I tore it. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and take more of my washi tape, and I'm going to tape the typing or the copy paper down to my work area. So everything is secure. And now we're ready to do our VersaMark resist for the background. We are going to start with the main geranium image and VersaMark. Okay, you're going to ink up, and we're only going to ink up this top half, the flowers. We don't need the leaves at the bottom, so we're only going to be inking up the leaves. So ink that up, and then we're going to stamp on that open area there. I'm going to do that twice. Okay, and that's going to give us our VersaMark resist. Now what we're going to do is using the Memento Dandelion and Tangelo, and you can use any yellow and orange that you might have on hand, but this is what I'm using, and a sponge dauber, and we're going to ink up the dauber and work from the edges first of all in, and you'll have to hold down your masking some so it doesn't move, but as you put your ink down, you'll see where the VersaMark is, it's resisting the ink. And I just love the way it pops out with this technique. Okay, so I've got my good base of yellow down. Now I'm going to go back with a dauber and the Tangelo, and I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to go from the edges, and you don't have to cover all of it. You want to kind of make this a blend, but you'll see the VersaMark popping even more with the orange because it's a bolder color. If you try this with other colors, it really pops if you use like a dark blue or something. This is just a nice subtle soft background, and I like this just in and of itself. See it pop out there? Really cool. Okay, so now I've got my background inked. Now you want to take a paper towel and you just want to buff it. You want to be able to wipe off that VersaMark that is on your background, because when we go to stamp it again with VersaMark and emboss it, you don't want the embossing powder sticking to this. You want it to stick to the next layer that we put down. So go ahead and just buff that out. Okay, and then we're going to use our static free bag. Swipe that across there, and then we're going to take the same Geranium stamp and the VersaMark again, and we're going to stamp it again, but only this time I'm going to stamp it purposely off so it's not in exactly the same place, because you want it to overlap some so you can still see that texture from the VersaMark, really the VersaMark resist in the background. Okay, so now we need to take our glossy cardstock up. So I'm just going to kind of fold this forward and peel up my tape. Same back here, just kind of pull it through. And you can kind of leave this in position so that you can use it later. And I'm going to peel off the washi tape. And before I put the embossing powder down on here, I'm going to take the Flowers Feed the Soul stamp, ink that up with the VersaMark, and stamp that as well on the right hand side. Okay, now I'm going to use this great new embossing powder that you're getting in your kit this month, the Clementine. It's just a beautiful sparkly embossing powder. Go ahead and cover that well. Tap off your excess, and then we're going to go ahead and heat that. Okay, then when you're done heating that, you can use the glitter brush and brush off your excess. And then we're going to go ahead and layer this on the orange cardstock that's in your kit. One of them is cut to the exact same size, and then one of them is slightly bigger. So we're going to attach that there. And I am using the 1/4 inch tape. Okay, now we're ready to emboss the brads that are going to go on the front. And you are going to get in your kit some different colored, an assortment of brads. It doesn't matter. You just need to use plain metal brads when you're using this technique of embossing on them. They shouldn't be coated with anything. So what you're going to do is take your tweezers. You need a pair of long-nosed tweezers. Hold your brad, and you're going to heat this with the heat gun for about 30 seconds. And then as soon as it's heated, we're going to stick it right in the embossing powder. So heat it, turn it around, make sure it's good and hot so the embossing powder will stick to it. And then you're going to stick it down into the embossing powder, tap off the excess. Now you need to reheat it just for a minute, just for a second, until that seats and heats that embossing powder. And then you've got this beautiful embossed brad to match your cardstock and embossing powders. So I've already gone ahead and made 3 of those, and I'm going to use a hole punch. If you don't have a little hole punch like this, you can just use a thumbtack on a mouse pad, and then 1 down here, 2 up in the left hand corner and 1 down in the right hand corner. And go ahead and put the brads in. And when I'm done, I like to take my little hammer and just kind of tap them to make sure that they're flat. And then this is going to go on one of the yellow cardstocks, and this is going to go on the front with the Terrific tape as well. Okay, so there's the front of your card. Now we're ready to move to the inside. And the inside, your card is going to be the Z-fold cardstock, and you want your short flap here to be on the right-hand side so you can open it up this way. This is the way it's going to open up in your card. Okay, so we're going to start on the inside with our static free bag. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start with the background stamp. This is the Geranium solid image and the dandelion ink. And you're going to ink up the background and stamp that down here on the right-hand side. Okay. And then we're going to take the outline stamp and we're going to stamp on top of it. I'm going to give that a minute to dry, and while it's drying, I am going to go on to my other sentiment that goes down here. She who plants a garden plants happiness, or she who plants a garden plants happiness. Yeah. And a trick that I've learned, I have had such a hard time getting my sentiments straight, is I put it on the block positioned where I want it on the paper. So here is the edge of my paper, and I've stamped it with ink on another paper just to make sure that my image, my words are straight. So if you have that problem, that might help as well. But we're going to use VersaMark, and we're going to ink that sentiment up And then this goes stamped down at the bottom here. And then the geranium gets stamped up here in the top left-hand corner. And I used the line on the block on this one to stamp. Hope that was straight. I can't see upside down. And now we're ready to go on to the outline here. And I am not worried about it being exact. You can eye it pretty good. You're just going to go ahead and stamp on top of that solid image. Okay, now we're going to cover all of that with the Clementine embossing powder. Okay, and if you need to, just use a little brush and brush off any excess that might be around. Okay, then you're going to go ahead and heat that. Okay, so now that's embossed, and you have that pretty outline sparkle of the geraniums, and it's got this great Z-fold. So now we're going to adhere this to the other piece of orange cardstock that's in your kit, and I've already put the 1/4 inch tape down on the back, so we're going to go ahead and lay that down on that layer. Now we need to adhere this panel to the card back, so we're going to go ahead and put tape on the back of the orange. Okay, and then your adhesive goes on this piece, and then you're going to line up your front, and it's easiest if you hold that down and kind of line up your cardstock over here, and then just press this down. And then you've got your card and it's all finished. Isn't that so nice? Love that Z-fold. And then if you want to, go ahead and put a solid background on your envelope and stamp over it with the 2 inks, and then you've got this beautiful card for your spring. So happy stamping. Hope you enjoy that. See you in 2014.